So, do we need Jesus to come to set a mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law? Probably not. Back home, I make a lot of these mother-in-law jokes. I love it because I don't have one, so I can make them all day. And after Mass, I'll hear people say like, "Oh, you're right, Father Dave," or like sometimes like some of the women will say, "Oh, I'm a good mother-in-law," and I always say, "Yeah, you know who has to tell me that? Right, like your son or daughter-in-law. They're the ones who know. We think you're doing good, but I'm not so sure." So frequently back east, they're the butt of many of my jokes. But why not? There should be some benefits to not getting married. I think so. There's that. But Jesus today, he talks about water and fire. It's interesting. The Jews had this idea that God would destroy the world twice. And the first time he would destroy the world, he would destroy it using water. That was the flood. Right? So in Noah's time, God destroyed the world once with the flood. And then the Jews had this idea that when the world ends, he's going to do it with fire. Do we believe that as Christians? Yes or no? Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, we actually believe that. God will destroy the world with fire. It's in, St. Peter writes about it, 2 Peter chapter 3. It's like a page long. God will destroy the world with fire. But we actually know something a little bit about it. It's good to know. Right? So, like, what is, like, you think about fire, right? I have a little piece of grass here that Tom and Michelle did not mow up. And if I lit this on fire, what will happen?
Burn.
Johnny Cash. Burn, burn, burn. Like, literally, what is going to happen? It'll burn, right? So tell me more about it. What's happening right now?
The carbon bonds are breaking.
Carbon bonds are breaking. What else is happening?
You consume.
You consume? What? Now we're a little closer to it. I used a paper towel this morning and people did not answer in time. And I was like, it's a big fiery mess. But I'm going to a piece of grass tonight. Like, so yeah, so the carbon bonds are breaking. But literally what's happening, right, is the fire is turning this blade of grass into itself. And what is not going to become fire is dropping. Right? That's kind of what's happening. Like fire takes something that is not fire and turns it into fire. And it leaves behind some other things, right? So these guys behind us, do they need fire up here? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. This is interactive, right? As long as you guys, you can sit further and further back. It's still good to interact. The locals are like back there tonight, so over here. Right, so what do these guys need fire for?
Food.
Keep warm, what else? Food?
Food.
Light, what else?
Cooking.
Cooking? You're missing a big one.
Life.
Life? How does fire give you life?
Energy.
Do you have fire inside you? Fire in the belly?
Well.
You're not a combustion engine? Maybe if you eat beans? They probably, some of them had beans. This guy probably did because he's staying further back and he's been over. Why do they need fire? They didn't need this morning either, dude. They're not lasting forever.
Protect against animals.
Protect against animals? What if you find gold? They find gold. Do they need fire?
Melt the earth.
Yeah, to purify it. Otherwise, what good is it? They need, right, that fire applied to that gold will what? It'll make the impurities drop out as that fire is increased, and then they can turn that into like the gold bars and all that stuff. Without that, it don't matter really. You know, you have all this like dirty gold, right? Which is probably a TV show on HBO, Dirty Gold. But so fire. So we actually know what Jesus is talking about when he says about fire, because John the Baptist came, right? John the Baptist said, "One after someone's going to follow me, and they will baptize you not with water, but the Holy Spirit and fire." And the fire that Jesus sends is the tongues of fire of the Holy Spirit. And what does that fire do? What does the Holy Spirit do? It takes these apostles, these crazy guys, some of them are zealots and terrorists, and it will turn them more into Jesus. It'll burn away their imperfections, and they're going to become like their master. And that transformative power of fire will happen to them. And this is what God has put into the world, right? His Holy Spirit. Now, Jesus also talks about division. So we play like a little game. It's like part from a psychologist and part from like Father Dave's fun day. So you have to choose one of these answers. You can't have them both. You have to say one or the other. Right? So are you more reflective or active? Active. The active people always answer first. Reflective or active? Active?
Reflective.
I'd say you're reflective, Carl. In the summer.
Active.
For sure.
Reflective.
Reflective. Our Saints fans, Rosemary?
Reflective.
Reflective. Say your son's active right now. That may change as he ages. Right?
Exactly.
Are you guys more aggressive or assertive? Assertive sounds friendlier in church, right? Mountains or beach? You gotta choose one. Converted to the mountains.
A mountain by a beach.
Hamburger or pizza?
Hamburger.
Hamburger? Okay, now it gets tougher. Friends or family? Depends who you're sitting with tonight. Family? It's even harder now. Family or money? Family or Donald Trump? Why Donald Trump? I've been coming here for 13 years in town. I just met someone this past week who I've never met before. And they're like, oh, you're a priest. And they say what they always say. Oh, well, I'm spiritual, not religious. And we get this all the time. And then immediately they're like, you're a Catholic priest? Well, I don't know why everyone makes a big deal about Donald Trump. They went right into Donald Trump. I didn't know Donald Trump was a Catholic. Apparently, like, he must be. They went to Donald Trump and abortion, and they're right. I'm like, what happened to, like, civil conversation? How you doing? It was like immediately right there. So, family, Donald Trump. Family. Okay. Family or vaccines, experimental vaccines? What's interesting is, according to Jesus, the only thing that should divide a family is him. Right? He's come to bring division, and that's not his intention, but that is what will happen in following Jesus, because Jesus, like that piece of grass, will turn you and me more and more into him. St. Francis was a partier. He was big into, like, well, carousing, drunkenness, had thrown these wild parties, and then he converted while he was in prison in the Crusades. He converted to Jesus. And he started to become more and more like him, and he didn't want to do what he used to do in the past, and his family and friends disowned him. Right? You think about it, does Jesus like to hear God's name taken in vain? Yes or no? So no, right? No. Right? And so, the more you and I fall in love with Jesus, the more you and I will not like his name taken in vain either, because he's someone that you love. Right? He turns you and me into more and more like him. And so this is this division that will happen as you and I choose to become more like Christ. People who don't want Christ will not want you and me to be around. And that's the division that will happen. Someone in the family will, like, try to want to live their faith. And then, like, other people won't. I hear it back east, like, the family rents a house at the Jersey Shore or something, and someone comes to confession, they're like, oh, Father, I didn't go to Mass on Sunday. Why didn't you go to Mass on Sunday? Well, you know, my sister rented the house, but they had the car, I didn't have a car, I didn't want to bother them, and asked to go to church. Does that put family first? Because what comes first before family? Family or God? If I ask you that question, what's the answer? It should be God. And I brought up those examples of finances, politics, and these experimental vaccines because what happened? I'll tell you what I saw that east. I see families tearing each other apart because of the inheritance. As soon as the last parent dies, brothers and sisters who are so great pull the knife on each other, and they're ridiculous. Part of that you can rationalize because they're grieving, and when you're grieving, little things set you off, and then some days you're at zero productivity, and other days you're feeling fine, and then, like, there's some of that. But, like, families just, like, eat each other when it comes to the inheritance. What I say as a priest to my people, I say, you know what? To the grandparents who are in church, I'm like, you should write the will like this. If your kids are not practicing the faith, when you die, the money should go to a bunch of nuns and have them offer masses for the souls of your children who are not living the faith. And if they get pissed about that, then good, because they even need that, right, even more. But, like, families, like, money divides families. And according to Jesus, he doesn't say that that is what will divide families. And then politics. In these past couple of years, I've seen great parishioners. I've been in my parish back east 8 years. And people hate their neighbor simply because they have another political sign, across the street from them. Or they put a bumper sticker on their car and they want to ram this person because of the not even seeing and cutting off people in their own family because of their political allegiance. Well, and then what happened with the vaccination? What happened this past week? The CDC, you guys see what the CDC said on Thursday? They changed their rules regarding they said people who are vaccinated and unvaccinated should be treated the same because of so many breakthrough cases. The vaccines are not preventing people from getting COVID, spreading COVID, no longer treating them different. What I saw back east, I saw families tear each other apart because some people wanted to get the vaccines and some people didn't. I had one family, these parents, they had a heart condition in the family, they didn't want to take a risk on the vaccines and their kids wouldn't let them see them because they could be potential carriers of COVID. They didn't see their grandkids, their kids for almost 2 years, just recently, just right after Easter, they finally got to see them. And people have just did terrible things and fired people and had to quit job and all this stuff over medical stuff. When Jesus brings these examples up, I was thinking this week, doing my job, thinking about the readings, Jesus is talking about division in families, and he sees the only division that could happen in the family is because of him. And people our country has let ourselves be divided in families for far less than Jesus Christ. Money, politics, and health. Ridiculous. So how do you put God first? Because and sadly, the consequences, you put God first, then people might not want to be around you, right? Jesus, when he describes heaven, who gets to heaven? Who gets to heaven? I ask you that general question. Who can see God? Even better, even easier. Who sees God? Are the people in heaven see God? Yes or no? Say yes. Yes, okay, so now we know a little more data. This is the line that will condemn America, it's really sad. But who gets to see God, according to Jesus? Children? So children will, but that's not what he says. Think Beatitudes. Blessed are the not the poor in spirit. They did that the first match too. That's the first one, but no. The poor in spirit get the kingdom of God, but they don't get to see God. Who gets to see God? Blessed are the pure of heart. They will see God. Is our culture pretty pure out there? There's like a new peak thing in town. It's Skagway moving away. Skagway is not moving towards seeing God, right? And they want to hold on to their impurities, but you gotta let Jesus burn them away, right? And that's what he's going to do. The more you and I encounter him, the more he's going to turn you and I into what he looks like. And this again happened to St. Francis. That happens to all of us, right? So if you put God first, will he lead you back to your family? Yes or no? Yeah, absolutely. He gave you that family, and he'll give you back to them. And he may say, because parents can go wrong. Parents have power, but parents can, they can do wrong, and brothers and sisters can do wrong. And Jesus may say, honor your parents, but don't listen to them on this or that, or help your brother or sister. Or if your brother or sister is crazy, Jesus may say, shake the dust from your feet until a later time when you're able to deal with them with more strength, and they're more open to the word. Or if you have imagine an early family, where the husband or wife wants to practice the faith, but the other one doesn't. That could be a real tough situation. You guys ever see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? But a lot of you guys are my age or older. Yeah? What does little Charlie have to do? Charlie with his everlasting gobstopper. He's got to be willing to give it up. And then he gets the whole factory. Right? And the devil is represented by that lawyer, Sluggo, I forget his name. Whatever his name was. He wants him to sell it as the devil, but you and I, if we put God first, we'll give you your family back. You put your family before God, you could lose the Lord. If we put anything before God, we could lose him. Right? Jesus asks us to put God first. So how do you put God first? It's real easy. How do you put God first? You put God first. You put God first by putting God first. Literally, you could do anything right now. 7 o'clock, you could get a pizza at the station right now. You could watch the Viking highlight reels. You guys could be doing anything else right now. And you're in church. Why are you here? Because you're putting the Lord in his place. You're saying, Lord, you said, do this in memory of me, so here I come. When you say your daily prayers, right, you may want to surf social media or whatever, or people wake up and they want to check their phone. When you say, hold on, I'm going to say my prayers first. That little act is saying, God, you have my allegiance first. Right? You put the first, put first. How do you put money over family? By putting money over family. How do you put family over money? By putting family over money. Right? It becomes the small acts. And those little acts that'll carry us. And that's why Jesus says, come here, do this in memory of me, right? Like, and that's why we come here. Here, like you are what you eat, right? Here we encounter the fire of His Holy Spirit, and He turns us more and more into Him. So we can go out into the world and invite the world, set more of the world on fire. And on fire, not for politics or health or experimental health or money, but for His kingdom. So stand and confess with me.